For the weekend, we decided to go camping at one of my favorite sites, and I've been thinking about how to kind of present talking about the paranormal and things like of the spirit world to this channel. I think it could be a tricky subject, or maybe I'm just not finding the right language to go into it. But I think I might have found it. So, just up the river on the opposite side, which is Wisconsin, there is a historical location called the SilverBrook Mansion, or at least it was there. Now I think it's called the SilverBrook Trail, which is the Wisconsin side of Interstate Park. So literally the state line is this river right here, which is cool. But the interesting thing about that house is it's rumored to be haunted. And as many things between Chicago and Minneapolis, there's always these rumors about it being haunted with gangsters and brothels and like sassy ladies and all these different kind of stories that come up. But that's not the interesting thing about the SilverBrook Mansion. The SilverBrook Mansion is this historical site that eventually had to be burned down because it was old and became condemned. However, it has a lot of history connected to it between, I think after the Civil War is when it was initially built. I could be wrong, but that's where I think my knowing of the house begins. But it later was purchased by a couple, Annabelle and James, I can't think of the name, or something. I'll put links down at the bottom if you're interested. But these two were socialites that were part of the St. Paul scene, and I think they purchased the mansion together and created a social club. So I think it was called the Universal Club or University Club. As I said, I'll put links down the bottom. But it became a movement for like the civil rights. And it had lots of different gatherings and really interesting people of history. And it became this like place of intellect and art and communication and connection and unity and all those things that I love talking about and reading about. But yeah, so I'll put the links down below if you're interested. I think there's like a county site that I could probably link y'all to. But anyways, I figured camping here this weekend and having that place just up the river would be a really good opportunity for me to start talking about spirit. And hopefully I will bring you along to the house. But it might not happen because I just found out that we are in line of a lot of thunderstorms, so we might get rained out. And if we get rained out, maybe I'll see about getting like some free imagery from online to put in the video, if I post this video at all. Maybe I'll just chicken out and I won't post the video at all. I don't know. We'll see. So this is my campsite and our family tent, which is probably going to be the last time we use it because it is filled with holes. And it is not rain proof anymore. But walking around here, just taking in some of this nature and looking at these trees. We are right now in the middle of summer and it's just gorgeous right now. So a key thing for me is looking at nature and how nature can teach me to better understand the world, my connection, the way I perceive it, the way that I interact with it, and the way that I'm going to study different things, both like tactile, but also like connect with history and things. Basically, the spiritual is more of an emotion. It is more of the thought base. The physical, of course, is what you can see with your eyes, what you can touch. So when I look at rivers or lakes or places where things are reflective, it really does bring me a clearer perspective of the veil, as we call it. Because above the water, we have the physical, what we can see and touch, whereas the reflection on the water is generally distorted. There's something dreamlike about it, something that probably incites poetry and wonder. And for me, this is very similar to understanding the paranormal. So we understand sometimes that, say, a grandparent has passed over, and then we have a spiritual experience where they come to visit us, or they enter our dreams in a way that we question whether or not it was a dream or not. That to me is reflective in this river when I see it. How we know one thing and feel another. And for me, the paranormal goes deeply into that. After all, life all around us examples things that we don't understand. It gives us moments to look at things and to think about things and to understand it. Very similar to this shell here. So this once was part of the body of a living thing, right? Now I can wash this off and take it home and turn it into beautiful art, earrings or something. But it's still a bone, whether it's rocks or wood or the shells here. They all are from living things of this planet that have in some way or another changed. And we can let them remain part of this great recycling planet that we have, or we can bring them home and turn them into art. So when I walk around nature and I perceive everything, I take it in, I feel it, I think about it, I don't see a separation in a lot of ways between the paranormal and the physical. I think that they are side by side at all times. When I am touching the sand with my feet, or I look at the valley, how these hills have been created by glaciers long ago, it brings my thoughts into the history of this place, the life, the death, the cycle of the seasons, everything that has happened here. And it allows me to acknowledge that there is spirit energy, memories connected to this place, that there are all kinds of spirit elements and elementals, whatever of the cryptid world, all of the things that are tied into what we title to be paranormal. I see it here all around me all the time. I see it in the cities equally to the way I see it in nature. It's just easier to see in nature because there's more time to pause and reflect. And so looking at this reflection of the water, knowing that the sand beneath my feet is a combination of old rocks and old trees and old vegetation that has turned into this sandy, mucky, kind of mossy flooring that is giving me the foundation to walk along this river and see all of the beauty of the reflection as well as the physical. I adhere this perception when I'm thinking about spirits, when I'm thinking about my ancestors, when I am looking out and connecting with nature spirits, elementals, all of those things that are part of what is kind of typically known as the spirit world. I do paranormal work where I help people connect with their land, connect with the history of their home or the history of an item that they brought into their home. It's a very personal interaction, and it's part of my personal work that I really love doing because it removes the fear of the unseen, the unknown, and it allows it to be a bit more friendly, a bit more understanding. Okay, so I didn't record as much as I had intended to share with this. We actually planned on walking up to that haunted house. However, it's been raining off and on, and in our not rainproof tent, it hasn't been very fun. So this is our last morning here, and this is our fire, the last muffin that's still there. I don't know who's gonna grab it. And as you can see in the distance, the haze is starting to move in because we have a mighty thunderstorm that is moving in, and we need to pack up before we go out and head back home, which is like a 2-hour drive. But I wanted to kind of take in the sights a little bit more and kind of record this. The river water, as I said in my one video with rain, I am always fascinated by rain and by water. And so right now I'm kind of in my bliss. But yeah, so just kind of, I guess going back to what I was talking before, 2 days ago, like bringing the paranormal conversations into my channel. I've been feeling really leery about doing it, but I think now is probably going to be a good time to do it. and go down that pathway of talking about things that I'm probably going to get a little shade about, but other people will probably understand and probably find kinship in what I'm saying. When I look at the woods here, half of these branches are dead, half of them are alive. And that is the perception that I bring when I am doing any paranormal investigations, when I help people understand and connect with their land and the history of their land. Every square inch of this planet has a story. It has some history of life and death. This dry riverbed is a story of life and death. And it's no different whether it's a nature interaction, a cryptid, or any other kind of paranormal, or if it's a human interaction of the living or the dead. And I think it's really important to understand kind of the history of where we live, the history of our home, the people that have lived there, the animals that have lived there, the indigenous plants, as well as the ones that have been introduced to the area and now become part of that ecosystem. Everything has such a beautiful story for us to connect into it, and I personally find it connecting into everything. So my paranormal and my witchcraft and my spirituality and the way that I connect with everything, I really don't have a separation. I find them all very interconnected, and they all give me a greater understanding to so many different things that have layers of an onion. I'm never going to be done pondering these things and reflecting on them, and maybe finding spaces like YouTube to share some of my thoughts on them. But this pathway, we've gone down this pathway every day, and it's so beautiful the way the trees line it. It's gorgeous. And the rain is starting to come, which means that my wife is probably wondering where I am, and I've just wandered off into the woods again. Oh, gosh, but look at the rain coming in. I don't know if you can see it. Anyways, hopefully you're having a beautiful day or night wherever you are, and thank you for my little middle of the camping ramblings about the paranormal. And I don't know if I'm going to post this one. I'll see how it goes. But yeah. Anyways, thanks for your time, and hopefully you're having a beautiful day or night wherever you are. Happy witching. It's on your phone. It's on your phone.